We're going to have a conversation this morning. We're going to be talking on three main topics. And basically, we're going to be looking at the December 17th referendum. The Institute of Local Government Studies pegs the awareness level at 60% plus. And also, we're going to look at the confusion in the National House of Chiefs. All right. And then we'll be talking about the alleged destabilization plot. The High Court has denied bail again to ACP Agordzo. And finally, we'll be talking about the Western Togoland secession claims and what's going on with that. All right. But I've been joined in studio by Dr. Nicholas Awotwi, who's the director of the Institute of Local Government Studies. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Not bad, and you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. So let's get right into the conversation. You've done an extensive survey, and it seems that your awareness level of Ghanaians is quite high. Yeah. But my question is, would that necessarily translate to a voter turnout?
Yes, thanks very much. Yes, at this moment, the awareness is about 66%.
Okay.
And the study that we did, we asked them whether they will go and vote on the 17th of December, and 67% said yes.
Okay.
So this is extremely high at these 4 weeks to the election, to the referendum. It's very good, given that in the past 7 local government elections, we have never had more than 40%. In fact, the average for the past 7 elections from 1988 to 2014, we've had an average of 39%, which then is below the threshold of the referendum, which is 40%. So that is the rationale for us to do this survey, to find out whether Ghanaians will turn up. And if they turn up, would they vote yes or no? And what informs their decision to vote yes or no? Is it because of maybe female and male, because they live in a municipal or they live in a district, they live in an area classified as an NDC stronghold or MPP. What informs people? And we had fascinating results from these combinations of variables.
Tell us some of the results that you found and why you think it is the way it is.
It is, yeah. So if you take the awareness of 66%, you also have about 54% of these people who could explain exactly what the referendum is about.
Oh, I see.
That is that it's an amendment of Article 55.3. And then 43% of these people said it's an election of disease. So that confusion was still there. But it's encouraging to think that people could explain that it is about referendum, which shows that the NCC is doing a good job, at least up to this moment.
Yeah.
But the awareness varies by age, by sex, and by location as well. Especially if you take by age, those in the middle age group, between 45 to 60, have very high awareness of between 72 to 74%, whilst the youth who are below, between 18 to 30, have the lowest. At the moment, it's about 54%. And that is not good, given that they form a substantial voting bloc as
Why do you think that is, though?
I think it could be that the means of communicating to them, they are used to social media. And I don't think that the campaign or the awareness creation had, used or targeted people, through the social media. So this is going forward for the next 4 weeks. I think the social media activities need to improve in order to get attention of these people. And then by sex, you realize that males awareness is 72% compared to female of 66%.
Okay.
And so that is also worrying. It shows that the women groups should focus in explaining this to the women groups. Then, in terms of education, it's also interesting. Those with tertiary education or who have had tertiary education, awareness is about 81%.
Okay.
And those below primary education or with no education, we are talking about 54%.
Okay.
So that is worrying. So we don't want this referendum to become elite discussions, elite consensus. I think we should focus on also those who don't have education.
Okay.
They also have the rights, and so the local languages and have to be used. Campaign slogans, skits, and all. Even if it is concert, party, we should use whatever way, so that this, and it's a substantial group of people with that education.
Yeah. Before you continue,
Yes.
what I seem to be picking up from the findings you found so far is that as opposed to let's say NCCE driving their agenda in terms of whatever vehicles they use, it looks almost as though, and I may be wrong, that this may have been driven more by media. Awareness may have been driven more by media as opposed to like a grassroots, ground level, awareness creation.
Yeah, I mean, the awareness creation, the whole campaign started late a bit. And, the NCC itself also is limited by resources.
Yes.
And so if you look at it, it cannot reach the remotest part of the country. So the media, I think, play a very important role in this. And so I think it's a combination of efforts of all of these actors to ensure that we reach at least 80%. We have 4 weeks to go. So if we are now at 66, I think we can go with the next 18 so that 80%. Then we know that at least substantial number of the registered voters are aware. But let me go to also regions.
Go ahead.
It's very important. Regions that have high awareness and the regions that have low. If you look at it, Eastern region, Ashanti region. Eastern region has the lowest awareness at 53%.
Okay.
Ashanti region has is the second, is lowest, 57%. Upper West, the region with very high awareness, Northeast, Volta, Central, OT, the regions that we recently had the referendum. I think it resonates with them that, our experience, we have just had this. So you have that. And then if you take the local government units, awareness is higher at districts than the municipalities and the metropolises. It's about 70% in the districts and it's 64% in both metropolitan.
What could possibly account for that?
I think the district assemblies are doing a good job. I think all of a sudden, our people at the local level who says this is an opportunity. Remember, the decentralization policy we have and the laws that this referendum and the amendment of 2431 and all of this aim at strengthening local governance.
Yes.
And the beneficiaries of this referendum and the amendment are the local governments.
Yes.
And so I think all of a sudden they are waking up to see, this is a chance.
It's something that is
because
right at the
power
doorstep.
now is going to go to the districts and the local government. The reason is that decentralization is a zero-sum game.
Okay.
The power that is transferred to the local government means power that is lost at the center.
Yeah.
And that is why for all these years, since 1957, we have never had opportunity to have devolution because the center does not want power to go.
Of course.
So once we have this referendum and the subsequent amendment of the laws, it's going to be a game changer.
Okay.
For the central government politician, even to win election, it will need the support of local government politicians.
Yes.
And so local government will become powerful, and for precisely so, because that is needed to promote local decision-making and power. And then after resources, they will demand resources.
Yes.
And so if they have power and they have resources, local government become very strengthened, bold in and take decisions.
Yeah.
And it's also a way of practicing or removing or reducing substantially the winner takes all.
I see. So you agree with that notion by the MPP that the winner takes all will actually be
Let me give you an example.
Okay, go ahead.
In Accra, if we elect DCs, it is possible that, let's say, Ayawaso municipality could be in the hands of NDC.
Okay.
Yeah. And NDC will have to show that they can manage sanitation, let's say at Nima, very well, more than the center had done. If they can prove to Ghanaians that this is it, because maybe the minister will be NPP, and then another municipality will be NDC. All of them will competing with ideas to change, to prove to people that once we come to the center, we can do it better. Look at what we are doing now. Second, this armchair criticisms of where NDC, anything NDC does, MPP says it's wrong. Anything MPP does, NDC says it's wrong. It will reduce because in the real life, you will be in charge of a local government. So you cannot criticize the center all the time. You are in charge. Have you fixed that problem at your local level? You see how the politics is going to go. So this whole idea of inclusiveness, I think, is going to happen. Take a district like Sisara. PNC, if they marshal all their resources and say we are not viable at the national election, we go to Sisara, we put our resources there, we had the support of PNC, let's win, or let's try and win. If they win PNC wins in Sisara, they want to show that they can improve the local economy of Sisara, local industries, women groups, sanitation. Then they can use that as evidence of how capable we are. So bring us to central government. So the local government politics will become a platform for exactly and to learn the vocation, so that people don't wake up one day and say, I want to be a member of parliament. He hasn't even managed a small community before. This is how it is going to affect.
Now let me ask you, what was the sample size? And I'm asking this to try and understand the level of credibility we can attach to your study. What was the sample size, and how long did it take to do this?
Scientifically, with the registered voters population of 16.8 million, if Ghana were to be a homogeneous nation with people having their regions and their districts with similar ideas and other things, then scientifically, if you put it at 99 confidence level with a margin of error of 1, you need to interview 4,400 people. Scientifically. So the whole of the nation, if we have 16.8 million voters, 4,400 should be enough. But it's not homogeneous. Every region has its peculiarities. So we went down to, let's take the regional peculiarities. So let's look at the region's voters register. With a confidence level of 99%, that would have been to interview 10,800 and something, which is huge, and our resources couldn't. In science, alternative way is to use 95% confidence interval. Yes, with a margin of error of, let's say, 5. We use that across the regional population, and we got 6,100. Which means that 6,100 should be a representation of the national. Then we decided that within the region, we have districts with also peculiarities. Some are rural, some are urban, some are farming regions, some are, very urban, very strong MPP in ideas, very strong NDC in that. So take that into consideration. That you then go into purposive sampling. And then with that, we managed to get 44 municipalities, districts, and metropolis. So 44 is a good representation of it. And then we shared the voters number, the sampling size of 6,000 among them. When we finished, we realized that small districts, then you need to interview only about 40 or 50. And for us, that is too small. So we also had a minimum number, below which it shouldn't. So we set a minimum of 80. So you see how systematically. And this then moved to who do you talk to? And then we go into those districts, those communities, and we identify the voting areas. And begin to talk to people randomly, making sure that we balance the gender. So this is how we arrive at a sampling of 6,550, because in some areas, people wanted to speak, and so we collected more than the sample of 6,100. So this is how we arrived. So the results is a reflection of what people think. But this was done before the political parties made their stand. Because when we went to the field, at that time, it was a consensus that was going on in Parliament. And so the citizens had the same idea. And so it wasn't if you look at the results from NDC strongholds and MPP strongholds, there was no significant difference.
Okay.
If you look at NDC strongholds, these are the results, that 73% of registered voters in NDC strongholds were ready to vote yes.
Okay.
Whilst MPP strongholds is about 76%.
I see.
The voter turnout, that is expectation of who would turn up to vote and who would not turn up, also had interesting things, with more people, about 76% of 72% of NDC voters say yes, they will go and vote.
Yeah.
Whilst in MPP strongholds is about 64%. Well, let me check my figures properly, since I am on radio. Yes, 72% NDC areas say they will go and vote.
Okay.
Whilst MPP strongholds, it's about 66. And then districts or areas that are seen as swing areas, because they vote NDC, they vote MPP, there is about 59%.
Okay.
So there wasn't that difference among this. However, as I said, once the political parties made their stand on yes or no, it's likely to affect the results.
Okay. What's your comment on the confusion that seems to have hit the National House of Chiefs regarding this?
Honestly, I look at the statement that the National House of Chiefs, and I commented on it, and I was a bit careful, given that these are our chiefs, and I don't want to be banished from entering the place. And so, on that regard, I was a bit cautious in my remarks that if this statement had been issued by a different group, either a think tank or academic or a different society, a different group of people, then our comments would have been, I think these people are misinformed or ill-informed about, or have no understanding of what is about to happen.
Really
But because these are chiefs, we need to be careful. But subsequently, you also saw this. I mean, you read a statement by some members of the House that it's not what actually took place. So part of it looks like the whole statement is kindly criticized or discredited. I don't know whether that's the best word to use for that, but it seems not to be credible.
But you know, the chiefs also have quite a bit of influence on the ground, you know, in their communities. So how do we go around this problem?
In fact, the amendment of 55.3 and subsequent ones, 2431, and I think once this goes through the citizens and the parliament, there will be series of amendments. In fact, representation is important. It's not going to be the first past the post. Representation, and if chiefs feel that they need to be represented, and I think it has to be, because if you go to countries like Uganda, you have youth representatives at the local level, district level, that are elected on. We have representatives from women groups that are elected. So it is possible that there would be, in addition to elected one, there would be, I think the referendum, and I need to check this, does not say that only political parties can be represented at, I don't think it's so. There is possibility of even independent candidates to contest. So if people feel strongly against partisan, they must as well vote for an independent candidate. But we all know that once an independent candidate stands against the strong parties, they definitely will fizzle out. They will not win. So it is difficult. But I think the yes and the no campaign, we wish we had not gotten to a stage where it is polarized along party lines. If we had continued the consensus base as it started, I think it would have worked very well for Ghana. Because there's nowhere in the world where multi-party is at the central level and at the local level has a political system, except few tiny municipalities in Switzerland, where they have even there the mayor is elected. It is the assembly that is apolitical. But even there, people know who the representatives are. And in those areas, people vote on issues that the assemblies bring. So it's that direct democracy. And then I think someone was also looking at, is it not Vancouver or Ontario, has this, but I need to do a research on that properly. But apart from that, there's nowhere in the world where you have this chaotic situation where local level election is apolitical. In reality, we all know it's not.
But I understand in the U.S. there's quite a number of states that actually practice
on board systems in education. You see, U.S. has a form of decentralization which is complicated.
Okay.
There's education districts that are elected on apolitical. It's education districts. It is not local government. It's education district, and those has its own local governance nature, local government nature. But when it comes to the mayor system, people elect. I mean, they had elections.
Yeah, elections for the mayors.
And so Ghana's practice seems awkward. Uganda tried it before they went into multi-party system. Uganda tried where in the movement system you queue, everybody queue, and then you want this person go here, as we were doing like that. But when they moved into multi-party, they abandoned it.
Okay.
And so all of a sudden, Ghana talking about, a political local government system when we all know that it is political. So now the question is, how do we manage a political local government system? How would people contest? If we're not careful, we may have about 50 people who all bring themselves out to be mayors, because mayor will become lucrative. Yeah, because a lot of resources will be transferred there, power will be given. So if you're not careful, you have one district, about 50 people all coming up to say, and then we'll have a ballot box that will start from here and ends here without even knowing who to, because there are so many of them.
Yeah.
In multi-party system, in democracy, the only way to bring change in policy is political mobilization. And political mobilization is done through multi-party system because it brings checks. Now we have, dual system where only two parties are now running. Yeah. We wish we could have more, but it's two. And I think if something is not working, if it's become too political and we are polarized, let's try to fix that problem. Yeah. I think the central government politicians must begin to work together now because the message they send us, we watch them on television, it looks like they are up in arms. I don't think they are fighting all the time.
No, they are not.
It is the citizens that we must have a change of understanding of our multi-party and not to criminalize multi-party because there's no alternative to multi-party system in a democratic system.
All right, thank you very much. We've been talking to Dr. Nicholas Awotwi, who's the director of the Institute of Local Government Studies. We're going to take a short break and we'll come right back. Please don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. We've been having an interesting conversation with Dr. Nicholas Awotwi, who is the director of Institute of Local Government Studies. But I've also been joined by Martin Kpebu, who is the executive director of Human Rights and Governance Center. He's also a legal luminary, I should say. Let me add it. I know where I'm coming from. Let me add it. Okay. So, welcome. Good morning. How are you?
Thank you.
It's good to have you here. Yes. Now, I understand you have a very opposing your position on this matter.
Yes.
I want to hear your.
So, as a sample, I think that contrary to Doug, I wouldn't call the current situation as chaotic.
Okay.
No, we are just also weaving or charting our own course. In actual fact, we are not alone in this world. I'm happy Doug was objective enough to refer to some countries, India, parts of Canada, and then the other examples are the Constitutional Review Commission cited. In their report, they looked at, there were a few countries. There was an African country, is it Uganda also?
They've changed.
Since changed there. Yes, but I mean, it's only a fool who doesn't change his mind, right? So this is how it goes. I think that, you see, it's because of what we've experienced with the current duopoly.
Yeah.
We are not happy with the NDC, MPP way of politics. So let's keep the current system the way it is. So let our citizens be reminded that certainly, on Thursday, Parliament is going to vote on the election of the mayors. That's the DCs, MMDs. Yes. So Parliament is going to vote on that, or let me say, decide on that bill. So it means that all things being equal, Parliament is going to pass that law so that the DCs can be elected. Yes, so that is sufficient. Let's take it one day at a time. As for making it on partisan lines, I'm strongly opposed. We are strongly opposed.
So you are voting no?
Yeah, certainly. And matter of fact, not just no, we are calling for a cancellation of the referendum. Because, you see, we started this no campaign some months ago in April. I remember in April when this first came out, we were on another network where we say, no. If you look into the Constitution Review Commission report, they said when they did their consultations, a majority of Ghanaians said they wanted the elections at the local governance level to remain non-partisan. The word they used was majority. If you look at the report, okay, is it page 470? I have the clip where if maybe I can even read to buttress the point. So my point is that since we've already spent money on the Constitutional Review Commission exercise, a majority of Ghanaians have shown that they want it to remain non-partisan. I think we should take it one day at a time.
So how do you explain Doc's
that's majority of
new research findings?
Well, but what I would say is
or let's say more recent research findings.
What I would say is that the Constitution Review Commission was was wider in scope. It was the whole nation. I don't know about
this.
Doc's,
was also the whole nation.
What's your sample size, funding? Let's see. Because Constitution Review Commission.
I've gone through that.
Yes. But what I can say straight up is that your research findings are yet coming in. We haven't had a national dialogue on it. You see, we haven't had the opportunity to scrutinize the work you've done. But the Constitution Review Commission's work stands tall, very tall. People have scrutinized, people have criticized, but at the end of the day, we say that, this is some good work to help our governance, okay? So let's take it one day at a time. Look, my brother, you know what we've suffered with this NDC, MPP, this duopoly at the national level. Every time we have national elections, you see the political temperature rises. Tensions. It takes the Catholic Bishops' Conference, the Charismatic Council, Peace Council, all of them to come and preach till we get peace. Please, we are not ready for that kind of...
Can I cut you, Martin?
Sure.
Sorry. Let me give you countries that are practicing multi-party democracy, even countries that have gone through wars and where they see themselves totally together. Mozambique fought over almost
20 years.
Yes, 1 million people died. You know what brought Mozambique together? Devolution. And it was done through multi-party system. Devolution. And today, Mozambique practices multi-party local government system. Mozambicans are not fighting themselves after this. Even when opposition has gone to the bush and says, I'm going to fight, I'm going to kill, I'm going to do it, they still organize multi-party. They don't die, they don't kill themselves.
Kenya, so why are we going to... Let me finish. Examples.
Kenya.
We can have examples. Why are you going further?
Ghanaians are not violent the way...
local governance elections, First Republic, Second Republic. So why are you going further?
Ghanaians are not... No, I think
why are you going further?
The fear we are putting...
we tried, even the mayor of Accra in 1922. Check our history. You see, this and I think
we've never had multi-party.
You see, the Mambi party and we tried this thing in 1922.
Under colonial time?
Yes, to elect the mayor of Accra. Yes, check.
Come on, you're talking about colonial time when we are talking about... sovereign states.
Let's go into our history well and see where we've come from. So for you to see that, let's do it non-partisan. It's informed by our own history. So let's not run further afield to Mozambique.
Our history.
Let's even start with the U.S. Look, you see, you were citing examples from the U.S. You think when the U.S. just gained independence, 1777, I think that's when they started electing mayors. Look, even as far as, I don't know when they started electing, but I know that even as of the 1850s, governors were still being appointed. 1850s, close to about 80 years after their independence. Governors were still being appointed. But today they are being elected. How long have we practiced this our democracy? 27 years. 27 years. So look, this is not informed by good history. No.
Martin, if you bring this, things that were done 100 years ago.
Yes.
100 years ago, to go to Kumasi, how were you going to go? Maybe you pass through, use canoe somewhere, and it takes you days.
Yes.
Now, with plane, just an hour, you are Kumasi. In fact, you can go to Kumasi and come back.
Analogies
just because so don't bring,
so don't
bring that analogy that so something that was done in the 1840s. We have to, bid our time. Come on, Martin. Let me tell you. We have a situation where if something is wrong with our system, we need to fix it. Currently, our local government system is broken. The local government system, ask many Ghanaians whether they feel comfortable about the system of the local government here. Look, common sanitation. Let me explain.
I know sanitation. What's the problem? It's about funding. How much do you pay for refuse collection? It's funding. 260 enough taxes. Do you know that? Look, GRA
you think funding is the only problem?
Direct taxes. Look, we have about 6 million workers in Ghana. GRA has it that only about 1.5 pay direct taxes. You see why government has to put it on fuel?
That is not the responsibility of central government.
Yeah, so if you say it's not your responsibility,
that's why I'm saying the system is broken. Sanitation and solid waste are basic services to be provided by the local government. Because of the current system, that is broken, we are not able to provide those services.
So if you were to do it on partisan lines, that would fix it.
I say by partisan line, new ideas. No, I was explaining how municipalities could be managed differently by different political parties with the issue of introducing competition and ideas. At this moment, our DCs don't come with any ideas. They have no plan to achieve.
But we are going to elect them. It's the partisanship that we are saying don't add it for now. One day at a time. In democracy. How have you been able to solve the ills of the national politics? You haven't finished solving the ills of the national politics. See the vigilantism or the monetization. So why don't you concentrate? Let's solve the problems at the top. They say a fish rots from its head. Let's solve the problems at the top. And then by all means, it will percolate down.
Again, you are playing on the emotions of citizens.
It's a solid argument.
This fear thing of vigilantism, as if Ghanaians are good. It's a fear. Let us not do Trump type of politics.
When it's time for elections, I don't need to go to Bunkrugu. I don't need to go to Bimla to tell them that the political temperature is high.
Martin,
they know for themselves.
Let us not do the Trump type of politics here.
It's simple. Take it one day at a time. Let's elect the DCs for the first. Then let's practice it for a while. Then we can perhaps move on
ask you a question.
What
would be the modality
Rome was not built in a day. Rome was not built in a day. Why do you in 27 years you want to
Ghana
copy everything
with
into
technology, with ideas, with educated people like this? We are talking like that.
All right, gentlemen.
But that is it.
Gentlemen, let's make some progress.
Rome was not built in a day. One day at a time.
The way it looks, we can't end the discussion and the argument.
So that's what the majority of the people, the voice of the people is the voice of God. Majority of the people say no.
The result
is contradicted by the current research.
By the NDC weighing into the debate alone, that tells you that no, this thing is a long
all right,
game.
Okay, but anyway, that's another matter. So let's go to the next conversation that we want to have. I'll start with you. The alleged destabilization plot. Your client has been denied bail again. How do you feel about that? What are your comments? Can you make comments?
No, that's the answer.
You can't make comments?
I thought by now, yesterday I even met Fred in court, and then Umaru. So for some time now, it's been the same mantra that once the case is in court, I'm no longer able to comment, except maybe in exceptional circumstances where maybe there is a gross misinterpretation of what happened in court. But beyond that, I'm not able to comment. So I thought that when I was coming, it clicked me. Then I said, for the past few days, we've been having that particular discussion. We've been discussing it, and they know that I can't comment. So it means that my lips are sealed.
Really?
Yes. So let's talk.
even regarding why it is that he's been denied again.
That's even that's going to the merits. So generally, we have the ethics of the profession. It says that when the matter is in court, as I said, maybe if you had said something that is grossly a misrepresentation of the court proceedings, maybe I can come
you can explain and clarify.
But as far as I'm aware, it's clear to you that the bail was denied, right? And the reasons have been articulated. So my lips are sealed.
What's your next move?
The ethics don't allow. We are contemplating a number of things. We'll see, when bail is denied, it doesn't mean forever. the judge said as of now. So usually it's standard that you wait for 4 weeks and then you reapply. Unless maybe some special circumstances arise before the 4 weeks, which show that, you should go immediately. Yes, but in the absence of special circumstances, usually at the bar, you wait for 4 weeks, give them 4 weeks, and then reapply.
Okay.
Then the interim too, there's the one that usually the police have the system of handling their own senior members, just like in the military. So you know that for the military personnel were handed over to the authorities, the military authorities.
Yeah.
So the police also have their system.
Okay.
So we are working on that to see how that can be done for Dr. Agordzo.
Okay. Doc, the court says that because he's a senior officer, they are concerned that he will influence the investigation that is going on. I don't know if you have any comments regarding
when
this.
it comes to legal things, seriously handicapped in this. So I wish maybe.
So let's broaden the conversation and move away from the legality of it,
yes.
and say that the destabilization. I mean, yourself, you've read the different things that have gone on. The stories began with the doctor being picked up with some accomplices, apparent accomplices, alleged accomplices, and so on. And then, since then, more people have been picked up. Some military people, and now the police, and so on. What do you make of all this in terms of the happenings at this time of our development, and to have this happening now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good that the law, the legal system, the judiciary, they are all working to ensure this is a democratic system. So the legal processes, I think, are taking the course. And so I think we can only wait to see what is going to happen. And, if the law says that this crime is very high, I mean, I don't know what high treason, it's something that you cannot bail a person. That's what.
But I think they said that it wasn't a treasonous.
You say treason felony.
Okay.
Treason felony. Meaning preparing to commit treason.
Okay.
It's been now all offences are bailable.
All offences are available. Okay.
The Supreme Court cancelled that law.
Okay.
I took it to court, and the Supreme Court cancelled the law that used to deny bail. So all offences.
So I think the issue now is more of the judge's discretion to say that he thinks that the officer is senior enough within the hierarchy of the police to influence the direction of the investigation if he's out on bail, and that's why he's denied.
And I think is that.
Which is quite different.
That is the case that prosecution made. So what it means is that the prosecution made a strong case based on the evidence that they have, and that was convincing to the judge to arrive at that conclusion. Then, that is it. Because if the judge was not convinced by the argument by the prosecutor, then he would have. Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
All right. I'm going to read to you a story from. One of the news portals, our news portal, regarding the. Let me just read it. It says Ghana remains. This is the next topic. Ghana remains a sovereign state. Disregard secession claims. The government of Ghana has rubbished the Homeland Study Group's Foundation's supposed declaration of Western Togoland as an independent state. Government assured that security agencies are taking the necessary measures to ensure all persons involved with the Homeland Study Foundation's planned secession from Ghana are made to face the law. This was contained in a statement signed by the Information Minister, Kojo Opon Nkrumah. The statement added that Ghana remains a sovereign state which has not ceded any parts of the country for whatever reasons. The government of Ghana takes note of the activities of a group known as Homeland Study Foundation, purporting to declare secession from Ghana. Ghana remains a sovereign state which has not ceded any part of its territory to any person or group of persons. The statement from the government also called on the general public to disregard secession claims by the group, adding that Ghana's security agencies remain firmly in charge of the territory. I want you to your comments on this.
Right. Yes, that's the right thing that government is done. Naturally, matters like this, once the secessionists are making claims, it's in order that government comes to state its position. And of course, we would most likely go with government position. But the issue is that, this secessionist group...
Is it legal?
Oh, as for self-determination, people determining at any point in time that they want to be sovereign unto themselves, and generally it's around the world. But you see, it's because globally too, states are coming together, getting more united. So when you tend to be secessionist, then it's like you're going the opposite direction. Because in unity lies strength. You see this group, they are very small. You'll be wondering what kind of country they'll be creating, what resources are available to them, and all those things, the strength, and So, but the way they keep on going, I'm thinking that perhaps the Peace Council should be brought in to engage them. Because from the little that I've read, I thought that the leader, this was the same man, a few months ago they did it. They were arrested, put before court. But because of his age, he was readily admitted to bail. So it's surprising that a few months down the line, he's back to his old order. I mean, putting it, trying to put it a bit lightly, okay, of course, but I reckon that for him, that's a very serious matter. I think that maybe Peace Council should be engaged to really engage them well. Because, the way the laws work, if it's not careful, this is the second time, the state can decide to prosecute to the max. The first one, the state left it, and I'm happy that he was left alone, because I was thinking that being a group, naturally, maybe they didn't understand what was at stake, so they should be educated more. But to have done it the second time, maybe because, especially as it's not a very big group, I think if the Peace Council is engaged, they'll be able to deal with them. There are not many. If it was a very big one which was threatening our national security, of course, I would have said they should be prosecuted. But to the extent that they are quite a small group, very fragile, I think we have enough within our system to be able to do.
Some people say that, but these things start small, so you have to really nip it in the bud.
Yes.
Because it has the potential of...
Good. But the mediation is not kids' glove. We are not treating them with kids' glove. We just want to be sure that, look, we've done everything within our power to give them the right education. So that if beyond that they insist... You remember in Spain, the guys, Barcelona, the Catalonia matter. About 2-3 weeks ago, they were jailed. Of course, the EU is not happy about it, so they are doing interventions. So eventually, of course, you'll be expecting a pardon in no time soon and all that. But that should serve as a warning to them. But if you consider the Catalonia example, you see that place, they were more resourced, it's a bigger, you go to Barcelona and those parts, you see that's quite a huge part of the country.
So as a legal person, how do you juxtapose the right to self-determination with, the secession?
The secession. Well, it would appear that, and sometimes because I've not lived with them, I haven't encountered them face to face, so it's possible that my opinion may be misinformed. But from where I sit now, their case doesn't seem to have been well made out. Yes, the case doesn't seem to have been well made out. So we'll be better, as I said, using mediation. Remember, it's not every criminal case that if you take to court, you prosecute. Some we are allowed to do mediation, but of course, when it comes to treason and the rest, it's not for mediation. You see, so I'll still come back to the point that, you see, we are looking at their numbers. These are very few people, very, very few. So let's not just think about prosecution. No, go to America and the other places where we've copied a lot of our systems from. They too, even in criminal matters, they are beginning to look more and more to alternative dispute resolution and the rest. So this one, because they are very few, let the Peace Council engage them and let it be so transparent. Let the whole nation understand exactly what we'll be doing with them, so that in the unlikely event that after extensive engagement they still continue on this path, if in future the state is prosecuting them, sure, people will not have any sympathies.
Okay. What do you think? No.
I mean, I think it's a small group. I think perhaps we don't need to give it such headlines all the time. Although I agree that this small group, if we don't nip it in the bud, you have a situation for them to grow
and movement,
and then opportunistic, militant groups can join in and all sort of destabilization. That is, but I think the security is on top of this. I think if we talk about legal ones, I think the only country in the world that I've seen in their constitution that a group can use articles in the constitution say we have seceded from the state or from the country is Ethiopia.
Okay.
Ethiopia is written in their constitution for an area that see themselves as a group.
So that's what happened with
Eritrea. Eritrea triggered that. Afterwards, the country, the military will fight, although it's in the constitution, because no country wants it to be disintegrated. And I think that, as I said, the small group, I doubt if this particular man, is of sound mind. Whether now he's old, if he dies, in a year or two or whatever that happens, anybody
will champion
whether he has people who follow his idea. I doubt very much, but it remains to be seen. I don't think this can go far.
But we look at examples of places like South Sudan. I mean, they broke away, and now they're a new country.
Yes.
So you don't think this is potentially something that...
You see, the South Sudan case was extensive.
Okay.
You have a whole Darfur issue where people were marginalized. And so it became an international. And that's why
the resources.
The resources.
They had the oil.
Or they had the oil, they had the resources. And so even the process that it passed through, I don't think this is getting anywhere near that. Yeah. I don't think so, no.
Okay. But looking at this, you mentioned about the size of the people, the number of people who are involved there. Somebody made a comment that if you're talking about Western Togoland, the original way that our countries, our spaces, I should say, our spaces were before they were carved out into the countries that they are now, it stretches all the way up to the north of Ghana. If it's supposed to be carved out. Yeah. Now, looking at that, I'm thinking, ahead to ask myself that what sort of measures, if you say let's mediate and let's maybe do ADR, right? Are there any parties that are actively really willing to get into this, or should the government not just prosecute immediately? Because it's a massive stretch of land, and so if they push the agenda and it becomes a thing and a bigger movement than it is now, are we not, courting trouble?
Yes, of course, there is every reason to be concerned. But when you analyze it once again, you see, you're saying it stretches up to parts of the northern region. Yes. But why is it that parts of the northern region are
also not agitated?
Exactly. Okay. So you see, it means that they don't have support. So it's all about the size and the way they are organized. They are quite a minuscule group, very small, very small. The last I saw them on TV, they were just a few persons. You see, tens or so of them. No. So because of that, there's no risk that. Well, let me say the risk is minimal. That in no time, all the people in the northern parts, that's the German Togoland, the parts of it stretches up to Bimbila and beyond. Yes, those parts. And there is no sign that the people around Bimbila and the environs are about to join this home study group. You see, so that's why. So you usually look at the risk, but you look at the size of the risk and then you prescribe some
solution for
it. Exactly. Okay. So that's what I'm saying, that looking at their size, I think the Peace Council can do a good job at it. Yes, we should give the Peace Council a chance to do that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Let me read a few messages that have come through from our viewers. We have a message from Eric Essa and Kofodria. He says, the NDC must rather educate their members on the referendum to make their own decisions. Telling them to vote an emphatic no makes them appear as robots who can't think for themselves. I urge all Ghanaians to ignore the NDC stance and vote yes. Okay. Then also, Sir Ewuku from Esuboy says, we should stop this hypocrisy in this country. We all know that district assembly elections has always been political. Even in 2012, Mr. Seydou Nketia told a press conference to tell Ghanaians, held a press conference to tell Ghanaians that 60% of the assemblymen are all NDC members. So today, what is it that has changed? Well, he says one good term deserves another. All right. So thank you very much. We'll be speaking to Martin Kpebu, who is a lawyer and the executive director for Human Rights and Governance Center, and then also to Dr. Nicholas Awotwi, who is the director for Institute of Local Government Studies. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And thank you very much for watching this segment.
Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed this video.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Citi Tube,
for exclusive breakfast daily content and other Citi TV programs.
like, comment, and share with your friends.